The 19-year-old beat two Grand Slam champions, Helena Ostapenko and Madison Keys, in the tournament. And in beating Keys, well, she became the first Filipino to beat a top 5 player in the WTA.
It was so incredible. This is my first time and you do well, so thank you. I never would have imagined this would be my debut match, with just surrounded by so much love.
Something extraordinary is happening in the desert, and the rivals are absolutely furious about it. Ticket prices at Indian Wells have surged, not gradually, not modestly, not in the kind of incremental way that gets a footnote in a sports business report. We are talking about a spike so dramatic, so sudden, and so undeniably tied to one specific name that even the most skeptical voices in tennis cannot explain it away. The secondary market has gone completely haywire. Seats that were available at standard prices weeks ago are now being listed at multiples that are making fans gasp and rivals seethe. And the reason? The single, undeniable, impossible-to-ignore reason has 2 words: Alex Eala.
We're not concerned about anyone else right now. It's Alex Eala time. This is Alex Eala's moment. Our days, our dinners, our evenings are fixated on when she's playing. That's real tennis fandom right there. Love it.
The Alex Eala effect is no longer a talking point. It is no longer a narrative being pushed by fan accounts and passionate supporters who are accused of overstating her cultural impact. It is now a measurable, documented, economically verifiable phenomenon that is showing up in hard data and sending shockwaves through the business of professional tennis. When a player's presence at a tournament causes ticket prices to surge to all-time highs on the secondary market, that is not hype. That is market forces responding to genuine, extraordinary demand. That is supply and demand doing exactly what supply and demand does when something genuinely special arrives. And the rivals have noticed. Oh, have they noticed? The reaction coming from certain corners of the tennis world right now is a cocktail of disbelief, frustration, and barely concealed envy that is becoming increasingly difficult to watch. Players who have spent years building their careers, climbing the rankings, grinding through qualifiers and early round exits, and long seasons away from home. Players who have done everything the system asked of them are watching a 20-year-old from the Philippines walk into Indian Wells and swallow the entire conversation whole. And it is eating them alive. Because here is the thing about the Alex Eala effect that makes it so uniquely threatening to the established order. It does not follow the rules. It does not respect the hierarchy. It does not care about your ranking or your Grand Slam count or how many years you have been a recognizable name on the tour. The fans driving these ticket prices are not consulting the WTA rankings before they decide who they want to watch. They are following their hearts. They are following a story. They are following a young woman whose journey has captured something deep and real and powerful in the global imagination. And no amount of establishment resistance is going to change that.
Put away. Excuse me.
Let's put the ticket surge in proper context. Indian Wells, the BNP Paribas Open, is already one of the most prestigious, most attended, most sought-after tennis events on the entire calendar outside of the Grand Slams. This is not a small regional tournament struggling to fill seats. This is an event with a decades-long history of selling out, with a loyal fan base that returns year after year, with facilities that represent the absolute gold standard of what a tennis tournament can look like. Tickets to Indian Wells are already hard to get. They have always been hard to get. And yet the numbers heading into this edition are different. The demand pattern is different. The secondary market activity is different. The specific sessions generating the most frantic buying activity are the ones where Alex Eala is scheduled to compete. The correlation is not subtle. It is not open to interpretation. Fans are paying whatever it takes to be in that stadium when she walks onto the court, and the prices are reflecting that desperation in real time. Think about what that means for the rivals sharing the draw with her. You have worked your entire career to be a headline act at Indian Wells. You have earned your ranking. You have won your matches. You have done every single thing the sport asked of you to reach this level. And then you arrive in the desert and discover that the conversation is not about you. The cameras are not following you through the practice courts. The fans lining the walkways are not holding signs with your name. The ticket prices are not spiking because of your presence in the draw. The electric, almost festival-like atmosphere building around this tournament has one source, and it is not you. Reports from the ground around Indian Wells are describing something that veteran tournament observers have never quite seen before. The Filipino flag is everywhere. The colors, the banners, the jerseys, the visual identity of the EA Army is transforming the aesthetic of a tournament that has always had a very specific, very established look and feel. Indian Wells has always been glamorous. It has always been prestigious. It has always attracted a sophisticated, well-heeled crowd that dresses for the occasion and treats the tennis with reverence. All of that is still true. And layered on top of it now is something rawer, louder, more emotionally charged, and more culturally vibrant than anything this tournament has previously contained. The EA Army has arrived, and they have brought the kind of energy that does not just fill seats, it transforms atmospheres. The rivals watching this unfold are confronting a truth that some of them have been trying to avoid for months. The tennis establishment spent years talking about the need to grow the sport globally. They ran campaigns and initiatives and programs, all designed to bring tennis to new audiences in new markets. They spent money, they spent time, they held meetings and produced reports and announced strategies. And none of it produced anything remotely close to what Alex Eala has produced simply by being extraordinary and being herself. She did not need a campaign. She did not need a strategy document. She needed talent, character, and a story that resonated. And she had all three in abundance from the moment she first stepped onto a professional court. The global expansion of tennis that the establishment spent decades trying to manufacture has arrived. It has a face. It has a name. It has a fan base that is currently driving ticket prices to all-time highs in the California desert. And some of the rivals cannot stand it, because buried inside their frustration is an uncomfortable acknowledgement. The sport does not belong exclusively to them anymore. The spotlight is not automatically theirs by virtue of ranking or nationality or the traditional pathways through which tennis stardom has always been distributed. A new force has entered the arena, a force that does not play by the old rules, does not fit the old templates, and does not need the establishment's permission to command attention. The ticket prices are not lying. The market does not have an agenda. When demand surges to all-time highs around one player's participation in a tournament, the market is simply reporting a reality that the rivals and the establishment have to find a way to accept. Alex Eala is the main event. Not eventually. Not in 2 or 3 years when she has the ranking to match the fame. Right now, today, at this tournament, in this moment. She is the reason the desert is buzzing. She is the reason the secondary market has lost its mind. She is the reason fans are paying prices that would have seemed unthinkable for matches at this stage of a player's career development. The WTA now faces the same test it has faced repeatedly over the past several months. Will they honor the reality that the market is communicating so clearly? Will the court assignments reflect the demand? Will they put Alex Eala on the biggest available stage and let the world watch what happens when the most famous player in women's tennis gets the platform she deserves? Because if Indian Wells becomes another Australian Open, if the fans who paid all-time high prices to be in that stadium end up crammed into spaces too small to hold the movement that showed up, the conversation is not going to be polite. The experts will go off again. The players who have already spoken up will speak up louder. And the WTA's credibility as an organization capable of recognizing and capitalizing on its own greatest asset will take a hit it cannot afford. The rivals can keep going off. The ticket prices have already spoken. The EA Army is already in the desert. And Alex Eala, composed, focused, carrying the weight of a nation and the energy of millions with the kind of quiet ferocity that has defined her entire career. Is ready to walk onto the biggest stage available and remind everyone exactly why they paid whatever it took just to be in the same building as her. The surge is real, the effect is real, the moment is real, and it is only just beginning. Tell me everything you are thinking in the comments right now. Are you heading to Indian Wells to watch Alex Eala? Do you think the WTA will finally give her the big court she deserves after everything that happened at the Australian Open? And to every member of the EA Army who scraped together whatever it took to get a ticket, this one is for you. Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, subscribe for unfiltered coverage of everything Alex Eala, and turn on notifications, because what is about to happen in the desert is going to be talked about for a very long time.